Hi everyone. So this is a $1,000 bill, and this is $100,000. So while that might seem ridiculous, in fact really, the average Hong Kong university student does the exact same thing on the day of their graduation. Because on average, they owe $100,000 in debt by the time they graduate, whether it be to another individual or another institution. In fact, this whole issue of student debt is really only the tip of the iceberg for the entire social issue of financial illiteracy. In fact, if we look at other issues that financial illiteracy brings, it actually exacerbates the issue of the aging population, where younger people are no longer able to support their aging parents. And it also heightens the wealth gap, where poor people are getting poorer and rich people are getting richer. And lastly, it exacerbates our issue of home ownership, where students simply starting at a very young age don't know how to manage their money so that they can save enough resources to buy their own house in the future. So really, this shows that financial illiteracy is a huge social issue. And also, while Hong Kong prides itself as being one of the top financial centers of the world, it unfortunately ranks only 24 out of the 27 nations surveyed in terms of the financial capabilities of its young adults, behind both India and Indonesia. Financial illiteracy induces ill-informed decisions, which leads to higher debt, higher bankruptcies, and then an overall burden on society and the economy. So hope that really shows to you really how severe this issue is. In fact, if we look at Hong Kong's young adults, 71% of them continues high spending habits despite already being unable to repay their existing debt. And that's why we really want to resolve this social issue. So we looked to some root causes of financial illiteracy, and we found that there's really three main ones, where students are either too financially dependent on their families or on the bank as a source of luxurious income, or they simply don't have the peer support when they can't control their own impulsive spending behaviors. And lastly, people just don't know what to do to better manage their money or what resources to go to when they need help. And that's why we looked to the marketplace for something that addressed all of these root causes. And we realized that really what students are looking for is a resource that is entertaining, relevant, user-friendly, educational, and interactive. But unfortunately, all existing resources are lacking, whether it be governmental resources or even websites. That's why Cashify comes to the rescue. We take an innovative approach. Combining education and entertainment, Cashify uses edutainment to empower future financial superheroes. Our idea is implemented through a unique structure. We have two main components, an in-person component and a virtual component. Under in-person, we have workshops and events, and under virtual, we have an online website and mobile applications. We integrate these two components through a very unique reward system, our point system. And that's why together, Cashify is a fun social platform for financial educators. And Cynthia will tell you a little bit more about our in-person.
In-person at Cashify has two main components. We have in-person events and in-person workshop. Our in-person workshop employs a freemium model. We have the basic level and the premium level. The basic level is free of charge. We aim to teach university and secondary school students basic topics, that is fundamental personal finance skills. Whereas our premium workshop is for charge by membership and by workshop fee. We aim to go beyond the student group and teach professional group as well. That's why we will bring in certified instructors to teach advanced topics, including strategic investment skills and in-depth financial knowledge. Both basic and premium level complements each other really well. Basic level will bring in more users for premium levels, while our premium levels will give us the resources to host more basic workshops. In terms of long-term sustainability, we will have new classes of students each year to attend our basic and premium workshop. We aim to tackle three main root causes of financial illiteracy. First, we want to help them become financially independent. By attending our workshop, we'll nurture them the right mindset about money and resources management. That way, we can help them become financially independent from their parents and from debts. Second, the lack of peer support is one of the main causes for students' impulsive spending habit. That's why our group setting will allow them to meet people that share the same goal of becoming financially capable. Our small group setting will allow them to familiarize with each other quickly. So that is why Cashify will surround them with a new social circle that brings very positive influence on their spending habits. Lastly, we know that just by teaching them the knowledge is not enough. That's why we'll bring in stimulation and role-play components to help them get hands-on practice so they know how to apply this knowledge in real-life situations. In fact, we already have a first debut workshop in January. We received very positive feedback from students and selected 36 participants, mostly out of these universities and a few full-time employees from these institutions. After the interview, we made a video for their feedback, which is available during the Q&A section. 97% of them think our workshop is fun and practical. They're willing to come back for more. While 78% of students revealed they wanted to learn about financial knowledge before, but just don't know where to go to. Lastly, 89% of our participants say they're willing to pay for our workshop later on. Besides in-person workshop, we also have in-person events exclusive to premium members. We will organize events such as career expos, networking opportunities, speakers event that features celebrities, industry professionals, and school faculty. Our in-person and virtual component integrates through our unique reward system. Participants can earn points just by attending our workshop. They can earn bonus points when they win our workshop games and use our virtual features, which Winnie will talk about it later. After they earn points, both basic and premium members can redeem their points to exclusive deals from local businesses, and they can redeem gifts as well. Premium members can redeem tickets to our exclusive events from their points. Together, in-person is a fun social platform for financial edutainment. Winnie is going to tell you more about our virtual component.
Cashify integrates the in-person component. Excuse me. Cashify integrates the in-person components and virtual component through a point system. Our virtual component includes an online and mobile platform. Users can earn points not only by attending Cashify workshops and winning the games, but also using our virtual features. Our in-person components and virtual components complement each other perfectly. One attracts more users to the other. Here's our platform login page. Once users log in, they can start playing. Let the journey begin. Our platform consists of various mini-games where users can earn points and invest in our virtual stock markets. Currently, we have 15 levels of role-playing games. The games are designed to teach and to reinforce personal finance lessons. At the end of each level, there is a quiz to assess users' performance. Here's our online forum. It covers a wide range of topics. To illustrate our advertising components, if you look through the random shares column, you can see advertising posts such as where to dine on first dates. We will partner with local businesses and corporations to provide content of the page in exchange for local deals and coupons so that users can redeem. Our mobile platform works just the same as online, except that it's more convenient and accessible, such as our personal financial tracker. Glad to say we have a strong online presence and have over 2,000 views. Our virtual components bring the same social impact as in person and complement each other. But we can reach out to more users online and make larger impacts. Cashify strives to help young adults to get a better handle on financial literacy through our virtual platform, 24/7, online and mobile, that makes learning fun. By integrating the in-person component and virtual component through our point system, Cashify is a fun social platform for financial edutainment. Now, Sean will tell you more about our integration.
Thank you, Winnie. So like Winnie explained, we have a strong integration system through a unique reward system. And how do we support this? We really leverage the resources of our key partners. We'll be working with educational institutions such as CUHK, HKU, and UST to ensure that we have a sustainable source of participants who can help participate in our program. We'll also be working with nonprofits such as the YWCA to provide free workshops for minority populations. This area of working with nonprofits is extremely important as it helps us enhance our social impact so that we can reach out to populations who are really in need, such as students who are supporting aging parents or students who are facing larger debts. And that's how we really enhance our social impact. And lastly, we'll be working with local businesses as well as corporations. Local businesses will provide exclusive deals for our users, while in return, we provide more foot traffic to their stores. And corporations such as Goldman Sachs, who we're collaborating with, will provide a sustainable source of certified instructors to help teach our workshops and support our events. And together, we'll be implementing our ideas in the following way. We'll be further testing our workshops in the present, and then testing and further developing our website and applications by March. Then we'll be solidifying our partnerships and recruiting further people to help us. And then lastly, we'll be finalizing logistics and marketing by April to May so that we're ready for our official launch by September to coincide with the beginning of a new semester. We'll be splitting our budget in the following way, with 30% on in-person and 60% on virtual, just given the more expensive nature of programmers. And the last 10% will be spent on logistics as well as marketing to ensure that we can reach our pool of target audience. So through these various efforts, we anticipate on reaching over 35,000 individuals just in our first year. At least this group will hear about Cashify. And this is a very conservative estimate because we have over 180,000 students, both secondary school as well as universities, just in Hong Kong. So imagine, even if we were to get only 1% of this entire group who hears about Cashify to attend one of our workshops or play one of our games, that's still 350 lives that are changed for the better by developing healthier financial habits. And in fact, this entire group who hears about Cashify will at least now know what resource to go to when they need help, rather than being hopeless and lost. And that's why we'll make sure that our efforts are sustainable by growing through 5 main stages. We'll be reaching out to universities and secondary schools first, and then to preparatory schools, nonprofits, and corporations, all by leveraging the support of our key partners while providing a strong social impact. And in fact, as Winnie and Cecia discussed earlier, we'll be really providing social impact through resolving the 3 root causes of financial illiteracy. But in addition to that, we can reach out to even more people through the ripple effect, because our users will bring the fun back to their friends and family. Whereas traditional lessons might not have gotten students going home to say what they learned about at school, Cashify is very different because our edutainment games are easily a dinner table subject. In fact, we have portable board games as well as card games that people can take home to play with their friends and family as well. And that makes learning fun and easy to share. So as I've discussed earlier, we really have we're really facing a severe social issue of financial illiteracy, and there's a lack of resources to resolve it in the current market. And that's why Cashify uses edutainment, implementing our unique structure and integrate a solution to this social issue. We'll be able to assess our social impact through really monitoring our user participation in the virtual platform by monitoring online as well as our mobile applications. And we have a qualitative assessment for our in-person workshops as well, where through our in-person workshop mentorship program, people can learn about how users are responding and how their behaviors are changing in response to our efforts. And in fact, together with Cashify's fun solution, we really hope to provide an integrated platform that helps resolve this social phenomenon. And even further than that, lastly, we want to not just empower our target market. We want to empower everyone sitting in the audience today with choice. We want to empower you with the choice to decide what to do with your own money. If you look on the back of the $1,000 check, $1,000 that we handed out earlier, you'll see a check on the back. You could either choose to be one of the students who owe $100,000 in debt, or one of the 71% who continues high spending habits despite already being in debt. And then you can fill this check as in from yourself and to the person or institution that you're owing money. Or alternatively, you can decide to fill in the check as from Cashify and to yourself. Then you can use this as your coupon to redeem your first free workshop or game with us. I think the choice is simple. We honestly and sincerely hope that you'll choose the latter option and that you'll choose to join Cashify, a fun social platform for financial edutainment, and that you'll join our journey in empowering future financial superheroes. Thank you so much for your time. And here are our online avatars. And we would love to take any questions in English or Cantonese. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your presentation. The Q&A session will begin now. Please note that only the presenting team and our judges are allowed to speak during the Q&A session. So judges, you may begin.
Thanks for the presentation. First question, what is your product?
So our product is both in-person and virtual. In-person being we offer
In
workshops.
person is the workshop.
Yep.
What is the content of the workshop?
The workshop will be the content of our curriculum, actually. So we'll be providing 15 main different financial topics, covering financial literacy topics, essentially. So that's what the workshops
What is the
cover.
format of that workshop? You invite the speaker, offer the speech, and with your card games or whatever.
Yeah.
So what is the content?
It's actually diversified.
Okay.
So we'll be having speakers, we'll be having games, board games, we'll be having participating simulations where we, for example, we offer them a choice to invest in stocks, we give them a number of points, and then they make their own decisions according to information that we give them.
The
So a
content,
variety.
the topic of the content is related to the self-finance management. What else?
Yeah, so financial literacy we think expands much beyond just budgeting. It can include things like home ownership, how do you get your first mortgage, how do you plan to
Wow,
get your first
mortgage.
house. But
Okay.
even before that, that's a more advanced topic. Things like how do you differentiate between your credit card, debit versus credit, and then how do you make sure that your
Who
budgeting.
is your customer?
So we have 2 levels for workshops, basic and premium. And our basic workshop will be offered for free to students as well as to minority populations. And then the premium workshop will open it up to everyone.
Who will pay for it?
Students who, after they participate in basic, want to go on to premium, or professionals. We've actually spoken to a couple of different corporations, including Goldman Sachs, PwC, and they're willing to pay for their employees to attend our workshops.
So how's your first workshop in January, you mentioned? How's that? Anyone pay for it?
So our debut workshop was hosted in January, and it was mainly for testing. So
Last month, right?
That was last month.
Okay.
Yeah, in January. So we didn't ask people to pay for our first workshop
Okay.
because we were testing, and that's
After that, you do a questionnaire,
Mm-hmm.
and then so that you come up with the statistics. So how much? You said you have 89% of people willing to pay you in the next round, right?
Yes.
So how much are they willing to pay?
Right. So that's a great question. In fact, we surveyed people who said they're willing to pay, and of course, I think you raise a good point where you say being willing to pay is one thing and actually paying is another. So we actually told them about different financial workshops that exist out there, such as ones offered by the Hong Kong's Boys and Girls Club, and we took a lower quartile of that because we're a very differentiated product that's completely different from the workshops existing out there.
What
so
is
we
the price
anticipate
range?
500 Hong Kong
500?
dollars. We anticipate that we
okay.
can charge that because that's actually lower in comparison to what currently exists, and we're also fun.
Wow, 500 for a student.
For students, basic is for free.
Okay.
So only if you go to premium and you want to learn advanced topics, then you can pay.
When will be your second one? Second workshop?
The second workshop?
Yeah.
We offer basic and premium workshops consistently throughout the year, so they can choose to attend
What is the
whenever we
schedule?
offer it. Sorry?
What is the schedule?
The schedule?
Yeah.
So right now we don't have the funding yet to really schedule out all of our workshops for the next couple of years.
No
but
schedule
it'll
for the
be-
second run, right?
Sorry?
No schedule for your second workshop, right?
Oh, we do. We're planning on hosting premium workshops at least bi-weekly.
I mean the next one.
Oh, the next one, when it'll be, the exact date?
Yeah. Any plan for that?
Yeah, we're actually planning to have it in March, on
March.
our timeline. Yeah, so
Okay.
that'll be launched concurrently.
I have to reserve some time for other judges.
Thank you for your questions.
Can you show me your financial model? Because you don't talk anything about your financial
Yes.
model.
Let me preface it by saying that this is an old version of our financial models and that it's been revised slightly since we've spoken to judges in the morning as well as our previous efforts.
How can you convince us this is a sustainable model, or you need to give us your ideas, even though you're not clear about this figure, but you have to persuade us
Yeah.
how we can sure that if we choose you to be the final one, and you can be a successful model
Yeah.
on the financially.
Thank you. Let me walk you through the main components of revenue and expense then. In terms of revenue, we're really anticipating that workshops will be a good source of revenue, just given that we have a large basic platform pool of students who can pay then for premium workshops. Also, we had advertising for our virtual platform. That we anticipate to be very successful because we have a much better way of reaching out to students in terms of advertising, because students will actually want to use the coupons at those businesses that advertise with us. So we anticipate another source is from advertising. And lastly is from our corporate sponsorships. We've spoken to a couple of large corporations, including Goldman Sachs, who are willing to pay for sponsorship for a couple of our events. So that'll be a source at the beginning as well. But in the long term, we really anticipate workshops as well as advertising to be our long-term sustainable sources of income. And then in terms of expenses, main things are that for basic workshops, we're recruiting the best student volunteers from our basic workshops to teach. But for premium ones, we will be recruiting some of the best from our basic workshops to teach, as well as certified instructors who are financial professionals. So that'll be a source of expense for in-person. And then for virtual, we'll be hiring programmers to help program for our online as well as our mobile. And we've spoken to a variety of different people, and we estimate that on average, each programmer's salary will be about $15,000 per month per person, and that we anticipate about 2 to 3 programmers to help us both in the short term to develop and in the long term to maintain the website. And then we'll be requiring 1 designer as well to help us with graphics. So that's how our staffing looks like in terms of expense management.
So how about say you have the online mode or the mobile device? What is your plan, and what's your expect cost for set up this one, and when is the schedule for this website?
Yeah, so the main reason why we're here is because the virtual platform is very expensive to develop. Programmers are expensive, like I anticipated earlier. So you're asking about when we're anticipated to launch. We currently have a couple of beta versions that are currently testing, which is why on the timeline we mentioned that we'll be testing by March, and then we're hoping to launch the platform ready by September of this upcoming year. We'll have at least a couple of mini games and basic game levels ready for students to play. And in terms of that, we anticipate we need about $300,000 to fund the game development aspect, which is why we're here for funding.
Because your business model is relies on the people's participation, but from your current model, you can realize that now there's too many so-called apps or the online games. How did you attract the people's attention to play continuously on your game? Because maybe once they pay, they will find another fun games, and they may not participate again. So what is your plan to attract more people to continuously be the member and to actively join the games?
So I think there's 2 components to that question. One, you're focusing on online games. And then, so in terms of online games, we're very differentiated because we have both offline and online, so that they're encouraged to actually go to our events, which are fun. So that is one reason why they're willing to come back, because they have a point system and they want to keep on earning points. And then secondly, because we're an online platform and we're a startup, we can easily adapt to market needs. We can definitely tailor our programs as we track people's responses. We can really tailor the games to see what people need. We have a couple of different games in the pipeline right now. One of our games being a budgeting game that basically we ask people to plan a party for their friends, subject to certain constraints, and they have a set number of money to plan for it. But once they see their budget at the beginning, the budget disappears. And then they have to remember what they're buying and what their budget is ultimately. And if they don't meet it, they can try this level again. And they pass it, then they can move on to a next level. So we really believe that our games being fun, we'll keep them as one, and then 2, we'll continually adapt our games to users' needs.
Okay, but you still have to convince us that what is your profit model, because it's too wide for you to say that you are rely on the people's participation of the workshop, or you rely on the income from the people to join the games or something like that. So you
Right.
have to make it clear, okay?
So advertising is definitely one of our main sources, just given we have such a large target audience in basic and we'll be already working with a lot of people. Corporations will be willing to sponsor us and then businesses will want to advertise on our platform. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi.
Yeah. I have nothing too much to comment on here. Just the thinking about your revenue stream is actually you can thinking of the bankers itself. They actually the student in university. They are actually their future customers in long run. So they were willing to sponsor or to actually help you to another revenue stream you can think of. And actually the only I think our judges have or we have a question about who is the user, and even the user here, are they willing to pay? And this is the question actually in our mind. They are the beneficiary, but whether they are the person, is the person going to pay? Maybe it's the government to encourage the student to help them to have a better financial status, so that the government willing to pay, or the bankers, because they are the future customer, they're willing to pay. But whether the student really want to pay, I think it could have a question. What is the benefit to them? I think that's the only comment.
That's a great point. In fact, we exactly realize that. That's why our main source of revenue is really from advertising and sponsorships. We've spoken to a couple different banks, including HSBC, Goldman Sachs, as well as Citi, and they're actually willing to dedicate part of their budget to our corporate sponsorship because it makes their customers more reliable. So they want to make students more financially aware so people can actually repay their debt. In addition to that, then how we want students to pay is just by making our fundamental product really good. If students like our games, then they'll pay for premium features. And if they like their workshops, then they'll pay for premium workshops. So, but we realize that we don't want students or minority populations who already can't afford to pay for things to pay for this product. That's why our main sources of revenue are really advertising and corporate sponsorships. Thank you. Yeah.
Could you give me an example how your workshop or virtual game help to improve the financial health of somebody? And who's the person in charge to design these workshops and programs and to make sure they have a certain quality?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. Well, we're actually mainly working with a couple of financial institutions for their curriculum. Mainly PwC has an established financial literacy curriculum, and we kind of base it off of that and then make it edutainment games. One example is our existing workshop. If you want to take a look at these cards, this is one of the games that we would be playing in the workshop. So each of these cards, some of them represent income cards and some of them represent expense cards. So on the income cards, they actually indicate to you what sources of income and what the average number of the income should be, and then same with the expense. So in this card game, they'll be playing in a group, and then their goal is to meet their financial budget as soon as possible in their group. And they have the option of borrowing and lending to each other, and that makes the game interactive and fun. One of the goals in this is that whereas in poker, all of your cards are like A and then 2, 3, our game's numbers actually correspond to real life numbers, where, for example, your expense card, if your expense card is food, the number corresponding on the food card is actually really how much you would be spending on food. So this helps raise awareness so that people at least know how much food costs, how much they should be allocating, because they don't recognize how much things should be sometimes. So this helps them gain that unconscious awareness. So when they go out to actually spend, they realize, oh, I might have played that game and that said food is this much. So I should be thinking about this. So that's
My
one of the
first
games.
question is, do you have any example of success?
Oh, yeah. You mean in terms of assessing behavioral
Helping,
change?
yeah, behavioral
Yeah.
change.
So that's actually with our workshop. We just hosted the one back in January where we actually did a couple of interviews with people afterwards, because workshops, like people's behavior is very hard to track quantitatively. We can't ask them to fill in surveys. Unlike online, we can actually track that quantitatively. So for in-person, our assessment is very qualitative, where we have a mentorship program where they meet up with their mentors regularly, and their mentors talk to them about, you know, how have you been allocating your budget, how have you been doing with meeting your goals, and then we'll be having a form where the mentors will be keeping track of their mentees' progress. And if you guys are interested, we can play the interviews of our program participants for you afterwards of what they think. Okay.
So we ask who designed this?
We did.
So do you think this is for the elementary or just for fun? Because this is involve some financial background or some knowledge. So do you think this one is just for the kids or for the student or for the some with the financial background?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's time's up, and so maybe you can reserve this answer
Sure.
for later.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much
So
for your time.
thank
I
you
can
very
definitely
much for your questions, judges, and Cashify may return to your seats.